The economy of human time is the next advantage of machinery in manufactures. Errors using inadequate data are much less than those using no data at all. The whole of the developments and operations of analysis are now capable of being executed by machinery. As soon as an analytical engine exists, it will necessarily guide the future course of science. For one person who is blessed with the power of invention, many will always be found who have the capacity of applying principles. The difference between a tool and a machine is not capable of very precise distinction, nor is it necessary, in a popular explanation of those terms, to limit very strictly their acceptation. At each increase of knowledge, as well as on the contrivance of every new tool, human labor becomes abridged. The proportion between the velocity with which men or animals move, and the weights they carry, is a matter of considerable importance, particularly in military affairs. Surely, if knowledge is valuable, it can never be good policy in a country far wealthier than Tuscany, to allow a genius like Mr. Dalton's, to be employed in the drudgery of elementary instruction. The fatigue produced on the muscles of the human frame does not altogether depend on the actual force employed in each effort, but partly on the frequency with which it is exerted. Telegraphs are machines for conveying information over extensive lines with great rapidity. The half-minute which we daily devote to the winding up of our watches is an exertion of labor almost insensible, yet, by the aid of a few wheels, its effect is spread over the whole 24 hours. The tastes and pursuits of manhood will bear on them the traces of the earlier impressions of our education. It is therefore not unreasonable to suppose that some portion of the neglect of science in England may be attributed to the system of education we pursue. A young man passes from our public schools to the universities, ignorant almost of the elements of every branch of useful knowledge. If we look at the fact, we shall find that the great inventions of the age are not, with us at least, always produced in universities. Whenever the work is itself light, it becomes necessary, in order to economize time, to increase the velocity. There are few circumstances which so strongly distinguish the philosopher, as the calmness with which he can reply to criticisms he may think undeservedly severe. Perhaps the most important principle on which the economy of a manufacture depends, is the division of labor amongst the persons who perform the work. The accumulation of skill and science which has been directed to diminish the difficulty of producing manufactured goods, has not been beneficial to that country alone in which it is concentrated. Distant kingdoms have participated in its advantages. To those who have chosen the profession of medicine, a knowledge of chemistry, and of some branches of natural history, and, indeed, of several other departments of science, affords useful assistance. The public character of every public servant is legitimate subject of discussion, and his fitness or unfitness for office may be fairly canvassed by any person. The first steps in the path of discovery, and the first approximate measures, are those which add most to the existing knowledge of mankind. It is difficult to estimate the misery inflicted upon thousands of persons, and the absolute pecuniary penalty imposed upon multitudes of intellectual workers by the loss of their time, destroyed by organ grinders and other similar nuisances. That the state of knowledge in any country will exert a directive influence on the general system of instruction adopted in it, is a principle too obvious to require investigation. Thanks for watching.